good afternoon and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. And my good buddy Doug and I are here to talk about Week 13 in the NFL. We have a really nice three-game slate on Thanksgiving, and then we have a Black Friday game, and then we have a full slate on Sunday. So going to be a lot of food and football this week, that's for sure, Doug. So how are you doing on this Tuesday night before Thanksgiving?
Really good, thank you, Josh. And how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I am doing well. I'm ready to do this podcast tonight. If you're new to the channel, if you would give us a like and then hit the subscribe button. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we would love to have you join us. We have a very family-friendly, very positive mindset for our community, and so we would love to have you be a part of it. You can hit us up on X at DFS Coach Talk, or you can send me an email, dfscoachtalk@gmail.com. And we will get you in our Discord. Our membership start as low as $4.99 a week. And we will be giving out a free week's membership to the Discord during this show. If you're not currently a member, or, if you have never been a member with us, we will be glad to get you in our Discord for a week. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start things off. We'll start with our game-by-game overview. We're going to go to the Thursday game slate first on Thanksgiving. So we have 1 p.m. Eastern, the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Detroit is currently a 2.5-point favorite, minus 150 on the money line with an over-under of 49. Josh Jacobs and Matthew Golden are listed as questionable for Green Bay. Khalif Raymond and Brock Wright are listed as questionable for Detroit. So did you want to go ahead and get into the news? You said you had some news on the Packers. Do you want to get into that now, or do you want to get into that later on in the show?
Yeah, I'll do it now.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, what did you have for the Packer injuries specifically?
Golden and Jacobs are both questionable.
Okay, that's what I want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Jacobs got the knee. Interesting. I guess it goes back a few weeks ago that he hurt the knee. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yes.
Yeah, and but the week before he hurt it, he sort of tweaked it and it just swelled up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then not last week, 2 weeks ago, he played on it, and then it swelled up on him more, and he wasn't able to make the moves on it.
Right.
The cuts of that, the mobility was gone in the knee, and you have to have mobility running back to be at all effective.
Sure.
Any position, pretty much, you have to have some mobility out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just was a straight north-south runner, and that wasn't going to do it. So they don't know what they're going to get for sure until Thursday before game time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot like last week. That's kind of what I heard too. It's going to be a game time decision. So I would expect him to be listed as questionable like he was last week. Matthew Golden was listed as limited today and yesterday. So, it's probably going to be the same deal with him too. I don't know anything on the Detroit front, but I would imagine that those guys are going to be listed questionable as well. With us not having the probable designation anymore, everything's questionable or doubtful or out. So, pretty much a lot of these guys that would be probable in the past will end up being questionable. Of course, the questionable guys are still going to be questionable, and then they might even be doubtful. So you see a lot of questionable tags now. So I would expect, to see that with these 4 players that we're talking about here.
Yeah,
we can move on.
Also, Reed for the Packers got his IR designation removed last week.
Right.
He's been trying to get in game shape and all that, get ready to go on that. He's not there yet. He will not be active tomorrow.
I think he'll be back next week for the Bears game. I don't think he'll be back this week.
No, he won't be back this week, correct.
Yeah. Kansas City and Dallas, 4:30 p.m. Eastern after the Packers and Lions. Kansas City is currently a 3-point favorite on the road, minus 180 on the money line with an over-under of 52. Very high over-under. Obviously, they're expecting a lot of points, which I do understand that. But at the same time, Kansas City has a pretty good defense too. Then again, so did Philly, and that kind of ended up being a little bit of a high-scoring game too. So, Yeah. I think this game's going to be – there's going to be a lot of fantasy points in it for sure. Then we go on to the last game of the night, Cincinnati and Baltimore. Baltimore is a 7-point favorite at home, minus 320 on the money line with an over-under 51.5. So another high-scoring game predicted here. 37 degrees, 11-mile-an-hour winds blowing to the west. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson look like they're both going to play in this game, so probably going to be a lot of points in this game too. So should be a lot of fantasy goodness on Thanksgiving Day, and it might be a little bit difficult because of that. I think that there might be so many people scoring that's going to be hard to have all the right ones in the right lineups, but we'll see kind of how that plays out. T. Higgins is going to be out for Cincinnati. We know that. Jamar Chase is coming back from suspension. He'll be back for Cincinnati. As I mentioned, Joe Burrow will be back, and Lamar Jackson should be back. So these guys are going to be pretty healthy for the first time in a long time, so it should be pretty fun to watch that game. Then we have the Black Friday game on I don't know why I'm even saying the stream, but Amazon Prime, because I've seen it so much. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. The Bears taking on the Eagles in Philly. The Eagles are a 7-point favorite at home, minus 315 on the money line with an over-under 44.5. 41 degrees with the wind blowing to the west at 17 miles an hour. I'm expecting a pretty low-scoring game in that game. I don't know how good the Bears actually are. I mean, they've won 8 games, but they really haven't really beaten anybody. So it's kind of hard for me to think that the Bears are this good or not. Obviously, as a Packers fan, I don't like the Bears, but I honestly do not think they're as good as their record says they are. So we'll see. That game's going to be a good indicator. I think, that for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Bears? You've seen them twice, so against the Vikings.
I've seen the Bears play every game but one this year. From the beginning, I have my family are Bears fans. And they're living and dying on these turnovers, Josh. They're getting a lot of turnovers. That turnover differential is saving their butt this year.
Right. And I don't know how many they're going to get against Philly, especially when Philly gave the ball over quite a bit, uncharacteristically high amount against Dallas. I think that Philly will protect the ball. I think they'll run the ball with Barkley. I think they'll play pretty conservative. Because their defense can shut down any offense. So I think that they're going to be in a little bit of a low-scoring game on Friday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Then we move to the Sunday slate. The Rams in Carolina. Rams are a 10.5-point favorite on the road, minus 560 on the money line with an over-under 45. 50 degrees with the wind blowing to the east at 5 miles an hour. The San Francisco 49ers take on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The 49ers are a 5-point favorite on the road, minus 250 on the money line with an over-under of 38. So very low over-under on that game. There's an 81% chance of rain. There's even a light chance of light snow. So we'll have to see what happens with the weather there. But 40 degrees, wind blowing to the south-southwest at 12 miles an hour. I'm going to get into it more in a second, but I know Brock Purdy has struggled in these kind of games, so I wouldn't be surprised if this game is closer than people think. Houston taking on Indianapolis, good divisional matchup here. Indianapolis is a 4.5-point favorite at home, minus 225 on the money line with an over-under of 44. CJ Stroud should be he's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. There's kind of conflicting reports. I've seen some places that say that he might play and some that say that it's going to be Davis Mills. So we'll see closer to, we're still 5 days out from Sunday. So
yeah, I've gotten both. I've read both.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll know closer to game time how that's going to look. But either way, should be a good divisional matchup. We have the Saints in Miami. The Dolphins are a 6-point favorite at home, minus 275 on the money line with an over-under 41.5. It's currently looking like a 29% chance of rain, 79 degrees with the wind blowing to the east at 13 miles an hour. Alvin Kamara is questionable for the Saints, kind of leaning more towards being out. So Devin Neal could be a key play this week. Kind of like we saw with Emmanuel Wilson last week. So we'll see what happens there. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the New York Jets In New York, the Falcons are a 2.5-point favorite on the road, minus 145 on the money line with an over-under of 39.5. 48 degrees with the wind blowing to the south at 9 miles an hour. Drake London is questionable for Atlanta. Do you have any news on that? Is he going to play?
Not heard a word on Drake London. Last I looked, he was questionable, whichever that was.
Yeah. Okay. Arizona is taking on Tampa. Tampa's a 3-point favorite at home, minus 165 on the money line with an over-under of 44.5. 79 degrees with the wind blowing to the east-southeast at 8 miles an hour. Marvin Harrison Jr. is questionable for Arizona. I don't think he's going to play again this week, but they do have him listed as questionable, but I don't think he's going to play. Baker Mayfield looks like he's going to be out, so we could have Teddy Bridgewater in for Tampa. And then Bucky Irving, he's listed as questionable. We'll see if he plays. He probably will, but it's
that. What I'm hearing is that they could have possibly played him this past week, but they're going to give him some extra rest so he would go this week. And then he was most likely going to be starting. Yeah, I would be surprised if he's not starting.
Out there. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yep.
Jacksonville's in Tennessee taking on the Titans. Jacksonville is a 6.5-point favorite on the road, minus 310 on the money line with an over-under 42. 79% or 70% chance of rain. 48 degrees with the wind blowing to the west-southwest at 10 miles an hour. Brian Thomas Jr. is questionable for Jacksonville. Elika Manyar is questionable for the Titans. The Vikings in Seattle. I'm sure you're looking forward to this game. Seattle's 10.5-point favorite at home, minus 600 on the money line with an over-under 41. 10% chance of rain only. 46 degrees, wind blowing to the northeast at 3 miles an hour. Looks like Max Brosmer is going to be starting for Minnesota, so we'll see how that goes.
You want me to get into that?
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's your team, so why not?
Do it.
All right.
Cross, right now, he's an upgrade.
Yeah.
I wanted him in last week, but that does not mean he's a great quarterback.
Right.
But no, he's more accurate, which is every quarterback in NFL is more accurate than McCarthy. So he's most inaccurate quarterback in NFL this year. That's my eyeball test, but you can't stat check. You can stat check it. I'll be right.
Yeah.
Anybody throw more than 2 passes, some running backs might be in there. Might give 1 maybe. So, anyways, he's very bad. I think Prosper will be able to throw the ball quite well, and I think Jefferson might have his best game in about 2 months.
Yeah, I could see that. Do you think Minnesota? I mean, obviously with Sam Darnold being their quarterback last year, they're going to have some intel on him. Do you think they're going to give him any trouble at all, or do you think it'll be too much with their passing game?
I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings have the intel, and he'll have the intel.
Yeah.
And so they're both going to share, and we'll be equal. And a big thing, honestly, is Grenard. See Grenard will be healthy.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if Grenard was going to be back because I know him being out was huge last week.
Yeah, so. If he is, then you can get a real good pass rush and Sam Darnold. Then that will be an interesting game for us. I think they'll just throw it up in the air and they'll still catch it. And anything Big Dog will still catch it. So.
Yeah, and Jigba and Shaheed and those guys, like they make it tough.
That's about the only way they'll not cover the spread.
Yeah. Las Vegas is in Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. The Chargers are a 9.5-point favorite at home, minus 540 on the money line with an over-under 41. Yeah, Oof is right. It's probably a pretty bad game. I don't expect it to be close at all, but you never know. That's why they play. Buffalo taking on Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf are questionable. I think they'll play this game. It sounded like Aaron Rodgers was closer to playing on Sunday, but they just held him out kind of against his own wishes. Obviously, he wanted to play against the Bears. But they the Bills are a 3.5-point favorite on the road, minus 200 on the money line with an over-under 47.5. 60% chance of rain, 43 degrees, wind blows to the southwest at 8 miles an hour. We have two terrible primetime games after all those good games on Thanksgiving and the weekend and everything. Denver in Washington taking on the Commanders. Denver's a 6.5-point favorite on the road, minus 310 on the money line with an over/under of 43.5. 43% chance of looks like snow. 44 degrees with the wind blowing to the southwest at 5 miles an hour. We have another terrible game. The Giants taking on the Patriots. The Patriots are 7-point favorite at home, minus 400 on the money line with an over/under 46.5. 38% chance of rain, 40 degrees with the wind blowing to the west at 5 miles an hour. So that is the game-by-game overlook. Kind of gets worse. Honestly, the schedule kind of gets worse as it goes. Instead of better. Usually the weekend, you have the primetime games, and they're the best games of the week. And then this week it's the opposite. So, but really good Thanksgiving. And that's where we'll start. My top quarterback is going to be my top pay up, if you're going to pay up all the way, is Lamar Jackson. He's probably not my top overall, but my top pay up quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Cincinnati has allowed the third most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Jackson has 23 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games against Cincinnati. So I do like Lamar Jackson. My top quarterback overall, though, is Patrick Mahomes. 6,500 on DraftKings, 8,400 on Fanduel. Dallas has allowed the most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Jalen Hurts had a really big game against them Sunday with 289 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, and 1 passing for 30.8 fantasy points. And, the Chiefs are in playoff mode, so they got to win probably every game going forward, at least most of these games going forward if they're going to get in the playoffs. So I think that they're going to play with that high sense of urgency like we saw in the fourth quarter on Sunday against the Colts. They really amped it up. So I think they're going to continue to play that way. And that's going to do it for the Thanksgiving quarterbacks. Besides Mahomes and Jackson, anyone else on your radar, Doug?
Well, they all are.
Yeah. And I can see that too. I really can.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ownership game to me. I slightly leaning towards Mahomes because I think that Kansas City's done running the ball for the year because that's Kansas City. I'm terrible, aren't I? But
well, they ran it 40 times or something on Sunday. So
yeah, I think that's a lot for them and for a month. And I mean, should they do it to win football games? Absolutely. I hope they do. And and then that's why you got to lean almost towards Lamar.
Yeah,
because of the passing, but he's been under 16 or 18 DK points for how many games now? A lot.
True.
He's only had one big week I can remember this year possibly. Mahomes is throwing the ball a lot better right now. Right behind them, nipping on the heels, I think Dak Prescott could have a decent game.
Yeah, I can see that too. I really can. I almost put Dak on here. That's a good matchup for him. I mean,
their
secondary is good, but it's not better than Philly's. I mean, you saw what he did to Philly. So
I think a lot more people will be playing Joe Burrow. He's pretty cheap there in DK.
Yeah,
and I'd be concerned about that because Baltimore's got a really good defense.
They really do. They really do.
Now,
Kyle Hamilton be out because that's going to be a big deal for them.
As far as I know, he is in. But I haven't checked that, Josh.
Okay. Let me check and see because that's a big deal for them. So
for blitzing, yeah.
Yeah, just their defense in general. Because when they made that move with the Chargers for Aloy Gilman, and then they moved Kyle Hamilton up, it completely changed. They went from I don't remember, it was 28 or something points allowed per game to 13 immediately after that. So yeah, he was a full participant in this. So Kyle Hamilton should play. Yeah, he's a full participant today.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see him on injury report. That's probably why.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right. Is that it for you for Thanksgiving then on quarterbacks?
Oh no. Keep an eye on Love too. I mean, if he gets, he could have a decent game
Yeah, of course.
against
Yeah.
Detroit. He really
Yeah, he did
could.
2 years ago. He really did. So,
And every team you're seeing is had less prep time to get ready for each other. Now
mhm,
with Green Bay and Detroit, they're more familiar with each other, and with
sure.
Cincinnati and Baltimore, they're more familiar with each other. Now, where
Mhm.
I think the home field team has an advantage is in Dallas, and that's why I like Dak Prescott a little more than the other quarterbacks are on the road, is
Yeah,
because Casey hasn't seen him as much.
true. That's true. That's a good point. That is a good point.
And that could be, you think it might be the opposite way, but my experience is the opposite.
Yeah.
I think Dak might have a big game, and if they're from behind, he'll be throwing it more.
Mhm.
And if there's one, like them, and Joe Flacco, on the other hand, that's the other
Yeah,
team. They
no,
go
I
well
like that
behind.
call. Now, my concern would be if Pickens is out, because he's been wide receiver 1. I mean, everybody thinks of CeeDee Lamb, but
Mhm.
Pickens has been their best receiver. I mean, he's been a monster.
Yeah, and I try to think of the other corners that Casey has right now.
McDuffie and that's my
Yeah,
wife's team, so I kind of know these guys a little bit.
I know.
McDuffie and Josh something. Can't think of his last name, but
Anyways,
yeah.
I look in the depth there, but yeah, I mean they don't got the corners for the upper echelon receivers.
Right.
Yeah, but one thing I have noticed is Dallas is CeeDee Lamb he's playing hurt. Every time he catches the ball and goes to the ground, he's in pain. So
Yeah.
there's something wrong there for his shoulders or chest or
The
ribs.
other corner is Jalen Watson. Actually, they have Joshua
Watson.
Williams, who was starting opposite McDuffie, but they've moved Jalen Watson ahead of him. So yeah, it's going to be Watson, and
Yeah,
then
I don't mind Watson at all.
Chris Roland Wallace is their nickel. So
Oh, that one I'm worried about. Okay,
yeah.
so and yeah, let's see. Yeah, and then yeah, okay, we're good to go.
Okay. So then we look at quarterbacks on Sunday. I like Justin Herbert. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 8,300 on Fanduel. He's averaged 24 DraftKings points in his last 10 games against the Raiders. Good bounce back spot. He had a really tough game in Jacksonville last week or the week before. They were on a bye last week. So a really tough game in Jacksonville. And so I do like Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Kobe Brissett. I mean, we keep going to him, and he keeps performing. So, had another good game last week against the Jaguars, and he's going up against the Bucks. They have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. So, I do like Jacoby Brissett once again. This one might be a surprise, but I was really impressed with what he did in garbage time last week against a really good defense in Seattle, and that's Cam Ward. 4,000 on DraftKings, 6,400 on FanDuel against the Jaguars. They have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Like I was saying, Brissett had a good game against them last week. And so I think Ward, for his price, is a good value play. That probably maybe 3%, you would say, of the tournament's going to play him. So he's going to be a good GPP play, I think.
Well, he might be, yeah. I mean, I guess the other one that would throw out right. I don't mind Ward because he's going what 28th ranked.
Well, he's like 4,000 DraftKings. So I mean, you're talking about he's a value price for a receiver. So at that price, it's hard not.
And he's going up against a 28th ranked pass defense.
Right.
So that's a real good call. And then another one I was gonna mention was like would be like Tyler Show would be another one you look at.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's going up against Miami's pass defense.
In fact, I'm trying to decide because I have him in my season-long league. I picked him up as a streaming quarterback last week, and didn't do the greatest against the Falcons, but good matchup this week against Miami. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep him or if I'm going to pick up Ward. I think I'm going to pick up Ward, but it's a decent same kind of play. High ceiling. Low floor, but there is a high ceiling there too. So
and you go Kamara out. It takes a little bit of the safety valve away from him a little bit. So I definitely would be a little more towards Ward.
Yeah, I can see that too. Besides Shuck, who else do you like?
Well, Bryce Young's cheap on Fanduel. If you want to go there, I guess you could.
Yeah, I don't know against the Rams, man. They are killing Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, yes, they were. Like I said, that the Rams deep. I'm joking, everybody. I said if you want to go there, that was sarcasm. Okay. The Rams D is vicious. They are legit. I got half my lineups for Sunday a Rams defense almost.
Right.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
On the upper echelon, I'm feeding Josh Allen this week. Everybody, he's on the road. He's on the road.
Yeah.
He's on the road warrior. The old Herbert. What's the status on? Well, he got Brissett. He got the ones I like. So
there's not a lot. I mean, like I said, the slate starts out so good and then it just gets progressively worse. So
I like the corners on Carolina. I've liked them before the season began.
Yeah.
When I researched them, there just isn't much else.
I'll just say it. I think this is going to be the hardest slate of the year on Sunday. Like, it's tough. Like, there's not a lot of good plays, and I could see it going a whole lot of different ways. And it could be just we could be left in the dark.
There are going to be a couple of sneaky cheap receivers.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
That's it. Are going to do good, and just gotta find them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting slate for sure. All right, let's go to running backs. Going back to Thanksgiving Day, Derrick Henry, 7,300 on DraftKings, 8,800 on FanDuel. Cincinnati has allowed the most fantasy points to running backs this year, so I do like Derrick Henry. Interestingly enough, Jahmyr Gibbs has not – I hate to say this because I don't want to jinx it, but he's not had very many good games against the Packers. Even this year in week 1, they did a really good job against him, but David Montgomery has actually done better. He's averaged 19.9 DraftKings points in 4 games against the Packers since he joined Detroit. So I do like David Montgomery as a sleeper. He should be lower owned too. Kind of hard to find anyone else I like at running back. I mean, I could see Kareem Hunt if Pacheco wasn't, back, but it looks like Pacheco's going to be back. So it's kind of hard to choose between him and Pacheco. I think Hunt will get the goal line carries, so that's good. But if they're throwing the ball over the place, I mean, I don't even have very many goal line situations. So, it's kind of a difficult slate on Thanksgiving for running backs.
Yeah,
besides obviously, I mean, he's the obvious one to me.
Well, yeah, and I'll mention a few more. You mentioned Hunt. I don't mind him. I guess a deeper, cheap sleeper. You could try Mitchell. If they get a blowout. Run there. It's always a possibility that there are going to be so many lineups that these guys might hit.
Right. Yeah. You get a guy like Keaton Mitchell to get a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, and you're going to win the slate.
And I don't mind hunting this in a field like this. Right. If you play under 150, you got to play Hunt. You're going to play Mitchell. You got to play these guys. Because when these guys is going to fall in for a touchdown.
For that matter. I mean,
definitely in on Wilson. That's who I was going to get to.
Yeah.
Play Wilson's on my radar. Especially if they announce Jacob as the starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it might be more important with Wilson because we don't know when if the knee is going to act up or when the knee's going to act up.
Right.
And so I guess my favorite, easy by far, is Gibbs. He is rolling right now. He's going to get it by air or by ground. And just think about it. The Packers have Parsons now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And Parsons gets a good pass rush, and they throw it to Gibbs. That it's going to make it more challenging.
I mean, that's what you would think they would do, but it just didn't work in the first game. But they may, the run game, the Packers' run defense has been exploited a little bit in the last few weeks, so they may go after that. So
yeah, but he's looked explosive. That's the other thing.
Yeah, he has.
And that does. If I was Packers, I mean that's the guy I get worried about. And if he doesn't get it, then you're gonna have Amante Brown. Then you focus on Amante Brown. Then
Jameson Williams.
Yep, exactly. and they go to what they do those three, and then you have another running back. So
Right.
although he has not done well in the last 6 weeks now.
Montgomery.
Yep,
Yeah.
6 weeks now. I'm not playing up this week very much.
Okay.
But yeah, so mine's Gibbs and then Henry.
Okay.
And then Brown. Don't mind a little bit of Brown in there too. He's my third most owned.
Okay. All right. Sunday slate. I like ETN. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 7,300 on Fanduel. The Titans have allowed the 8th most fantasy points to running backs this year. Like Jalen Warren, he's 6,300 on DraftKings, 7,200 on Fanduel. The Bills have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs this year. And on that note, you can also play Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell and Warren have both gotten quite a few carries lately, so you can go to either one of them. Value, I like Devin Neal if Kamara is out. He's 5,000 on DraftKings, 5,900 on FanDuel. The Dolphins have allowed the 10th most fantasy points to running backs this year. So that's really it for me for running back. Like I said, this slate is going to be very challenging. So I didn't have a lot of obvious plays running back this week.
Yeah, it's a little more straightforward. I think running back. I think that Neal's not going to play.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to start. Bucky Irving's got a nice matchup against Arizona. I don't mind that. Price a little hefty. Woody Marks is cheap on FanDuel at least, 6,400. Mm-hmm. He's possible. But I mean, if you look at value, it may not be there at all at running back. And I'm not going to waste anybody's time or anything. McCaffrey, I'll just do the tops, okay? Right. I got it read. I'm just going to read them for you. H.A.N. is my number one running back this week for points. McCaffrey is second. Wait, no, McCaffrey's third. Taylor second. McCaffrey's third. Robinson's fourth. I have all 4 of those in a tier. It dropped down a lot.
Yeah.
And then you can play Kyren Williams, Breece Hall, James Cook. And the guy, you already liked them. That's the value one per value are Warren, ETM, like you mentioned, and Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I could see that. All right.
There isn't much else to do. I mean, you can't play Seattle running backs because Seattle can't run this year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I think they're pretty good against the run too, aren't they? I mean, I know they had a tough game with Wilson, but they've been pretty good against the run this year.
Yeah, and Seattle, I don't get it. They got the talent to do it. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to the wide receivers. My Thanksgiving Day top receiver is Rashee Rice, 7,500 on DraftKings, 8,600 on FanDuel. Dallas has allowed the 2nd most fantasy points from wide receivers this year. Rice had his best game of the year so far with 8 catches on 12 targets for 141 yards for 27.1 fantasy points. And he really didn't have hardly any of that until the 4th quarter. So even with a slow start, he still had a pretty big game. He's seen over just over 9 targets per game, and I think he'll be heavily targeted again on Thanksgiving. Christian Watson is my wide receiver value play, 4,700 on DraftKings, 6,000 on FanDuel. He scored double-digit fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games against the Lions. He had one of his better games against the Lions 2 years ago on Thanksgiving. 5 catches on 7 targets for 94 yards receiving and a touchdown for 20.4 DraftKings points. When Jaden Reed comes back, I think Watson will be less attractive as a play for the Packers, but I do like Watson right now for sure, especially with Jacobs out. And then Mitch Tinsley, he's going to be in play. He's a super cheap, 3,500 on DraftKings, 100 on FanDuel. T. Higgins is going to be out, so it's going to be between Chase and Yosebas, and then Tinsley's going to get some targets too. He got 6 targets last week. He caught a touchdown for 10.9 DraftKings points, so I like him as a punt play at receiver on Thanksgiving.
And he caught 506. He looked good in preseason on top of that. I don't think he's going to be a secret. I think he's going to be one of the highest owned, if not the highest owned player on this slate.
Yeah, I could see that.
On this slate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's crazy to say that, but
but if he is, then we'll just play Yosebas. I mean, that's kind of the way that's going to go. So.
We could play Wicks or Golden or
or you could play
Yeah, you've got other people out there, but
Hollywood Brown could be in play.
you know, he's looked better than Worthy.
Yeah, he has.
He has, and then I've gone through another name out there, Rashad Bateman. Is he healthy enough? Look for him. He can get one too. And
Sure.
yeah, and these are just people I just like looking at. Just real quick, I mean, you like Rashid Rice. How could you not? You
Mm-hmm.
know, really, you gotta like him. And I see Baltimore roll the defense solely on towards Chase.
Yeah.
Um, and Amon St. Brown, I don't. I like him a lot this week, John. It's either him or Gibbs are going to go off. Maybe both.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like those two. And then the one I really like is Flowers.
Uh-huh.
I really like Flowers
Yeah, a
this
lot of
week.
people are going to forget about him, especially with Lamar back. So
Yeah, he's what Flowers 7,100 on FanDuel.
yeah,
So these it's a little better price than DraftKings.
he's kind of priced in between the top
Mm-hmm.
receivers and the middle tier. So yeah.
Yeah, you got your Cowboy receivers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went over that already. So
Yeah, Pickens if he's in there. I mean, I would play him. I don't know. Lamb's scaring me with all those drops, honestly. For his price, like
oh,
if I had to choose between him and St. Brown or Rice, I would definitely take one of them over Lamb. I mean, that's just me, but
yeah, Land like I said, not looking quite healthy enough.
no.
But he plays a lot of pain. And you know, this is we're saying all this Chase could have a huge game, but
Right.
especially on DraftKings, don't pay up
Right.
at receiver. Don't do it. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Sunday slate with Herbert. I like McConkey. He's 6,300 on DraftKings, 7,600 on FanDuel. The Raiders have allowed the fifth most fantasy points to wide receivers this year. He had, a really rough game, just like Herbert did in Jacksonville that last game. But he had played really well there for about a month. So I think he's going to bounce back in a big way. Michael Wilson, 5,900 on DraftKings, 7,100 on FanDuel. He saw 15 targets last week after seeing 18 the week before. He's got 33 targets in the last two games. He had 10 catches on 15 targets for 118 yards receiving for 24.8 DraftKings points. So he's going to be in a good spot against the Bucks defense. They had a really, of course, tough time with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who wouldn't. But still, it's a really good matchup for Wilson. So I like him. I like Parker Washington. He's 5,400 on DraftKings, 5,800 on FanDuel. He's gotten 7 targets over the last 5 games, 7 targets per game. He scored double-digit fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. Had his best game of the year on Sunday with 5 catches on 7 targets for 71 yards and a touchdown for 18.1 DraftKings points. Tennessee has allowed the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers this year, so I like that. If you do play Cam Ward, I don't mind pairing him up at all with Chamiri DK. He's somebody we liked a few weeks ago, and then they had their bye week, and I think everybody kind of forgot about DK, and then he had a nice game last week. So I do like DK as a value play for sure, especially on DraftKings. So
Yeah, and he's one of those, your Parker Washington's a great call. I don't know what they do have Jacoby Myers now back. What are my people that? Brian Thomas might be back. He's got a Q take this week. It might be quite busy at wide receiver there. Just kind of
that's definitely something to keep an eye on. That's a good point. If Brian Thomas plays, I probably would get off of Parker Washington. But Jacoby Myers, he's in play still.
Yeah, I like him. I tell you, McMillan against the Rams defense. Just kidding, everybody again. And if there was a joke, right? But who else did I like? You know, a lot of them. Jackson Smith and Jigma will have a great game.
Yeah,
he's my top pay up. And then you had Ladd and on that. Wilson even at 7,100. I don't mind it at all. And I want to go cheapies. Parker Washington's price I think could be broke if either one of those are out. It's just broke. if Mooney's back, I think Kirk Cousins and Mooney, they do match up all together.
I like Mooney. I do like that. If because he didn't really do that much with Penix, but I do like him with Cousins.
Mm-hmm. Both Pierce and Pittman are going up against Houston's vaulted cornerback. Don't play Pierce or Pittman. I like them. And just going down a few other players here. I have a long list today. I'm sorry, everybody. Who's I going to mention? Khalil Shakir for Buffalo. I like him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, this week I like him a lot.
They picked up Brandon Cooks. I thought that was interesting.
What's that?
They picked up Brandon Cooks. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, they picked up Brandon Cooks today. So.
Well, what position he's going to play?
Receiver. Yeah.
Oh, there's more than one Brandon Cooks out there. Used to be a cornerback named Brandon Cooks.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
And you played for Buffalo. Come on now.
The receiver from the Saints, they picked him up. So who knows?
He won't be ready.
No, he won't be ready. And they were, kind of phasing Keon Coleman out already. So Terrell Shavers, Gabriel Davis, like you can flip a coin on them. But Shakir is definitely the top option for Josh Allen. So
they weren't phasing Coleman out, Josh, but they benched him.
Yeah.
You didn't let him play the last 2 games. He was active and benched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or inactive 1 game and bench again. He got in a dog out. Did something he did off the field or didn't do. Wasn't listening to the coaches. Something happened there. He is done in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. We'll move on to tight ends. Mark Andrews is 3,600 on DraftKings, 5,600 on Fanduel. He's going up against Cincinnati. They have allowed the most fantasy points to tight ends this year. He's averaged 10.6 DraftKings points with Lamar Jackson and 5.7 without him. So it's pretty obvious that he needs Lamar Jackson to be fantasy relevant. I like Mark Andrews, but what I will say is that this is the one position where on these Thanksgiving Day slates, you can win a slate just by playing somebody different. So the guy I like personally is Brock Wright, the tight end for the Lions. The Packers have had their struggles with tight ends, and I could see him getting in the end zone. Really, all you need is one of these lower-owned tight ends to get a touchdown, and it can really turn the difference in the slate. So I like Brock Wright. You could also look at what's the backup tight end for Dallas? You could look at him,
Schumacher,
whatever his name is, and then Noah Gray. You could look at him. Really, any of these backup tight ends. I mean, these are the kind of guys. I remember a few years ago, I think it was Jesper Horsted or something like that. Played on Thanksgiving, so those are the kind of guys that you want to play on Thanksgiving. It's only
how many touchdowns?
Yeah, only 3 games, and so ownership is going to be key. But you could play 2 tight ends too. I could see that. Not as high on Travis Kelce this week, but he's still in play, obviously. He's a target for Mahomes. All right. Outside of that on Sunday,
I can step in real quick. I have Kelce and Andrews are tied for me. Okay. I actually like Kelce a lot this week. I like he'll get in the middle of the zone and he'll find a niche there. I think he'll get a lot of passes. Okay. It's a short week. They don't need to prep much. Yeah. And Kelce's Kelce. Right. He looked good for a while. Like Atlanta Hawks tonight for basketball.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Did he score?
I haven't seen it lately. I saw it. It was like 45-19 at one point when I looked at it.
Oh wow, yeah, they're down 111-78 currently.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not joking about that. I had a lineup. I faded all Washington. That was a huge mistake. Anyway, that was only one lineup. Anyways, so what tight end? I like Gesicki. That's what I wanted to mention.
Okay, Gesicki, yeah.
And they have a bunch of tight ends. If you want to go with tight ends, they might have 3 tight ends out. I think Gesicki, because of the attention that the Chase is going to have, is that I think Gesicki is going to be, and Burrow likes Gesicki when they're with each other.
Yeah, I like that call. I do.
And they have a good connection. And I think that's one play. And if you look at his price on FanDuel, it's like bare minimum almost, and Draftkings about bare minimum. So
right. Yeah, no, I like that call. Let's go back to the Sunday slate. I'm going to go a little bit faster now because I'm looking at the clock. We're
wow, yes.
almost up and against an hour already. Trey McBride, 7,800 on DraftKings, 8,300 on Fanduel. Goes without saying he's a top tight end on the slate. He's been just monster targeted ever since Marvin Harrison went out. So definitely like
Wilson.
McBride. I also like Tyler Warren against Houston.
Yeah.
I like Brenton Strange against Tennessee. I think I mentioned Strange on the podcast last week. And then I like Parkinson as a cheap 2,800 on DraftKings. So it's hard to beat that. So that's it for me for tight ends.
Yeah, McBride's elite, can't cover him. I thought about Kittle was what I was looking at. I do like Dalton Schultz going up against Indianapolis. He's been doing really well lately. Mills, and I don't think which quarterback could be. Depending on injuries, Otten's in play. You run over most of them. I think one of the Cleveland tight ends will do good, either Fannin or Jakku will do good.
Yeah.
Yep. I think either one of those two can do fine. A Sanders. You mentioned Sanders, for Jacksonville. Strange. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Strange. And then one of the Buffalo. I love Kincaid or Knox, 8-1 starts. Play them.
Okay. All right. See, defense. We got the Ravens on Thanksgiving. They're really the main defense that I like. I guess PPP, maybe the Packers, but I like the Ravens as my main defense on Thanksgiving. And then on Sunday, Seattle, the Rams, the 49ers, the Texans. And I think in a GPP, you could even look at the Browns. The forecast, like I said, is cold with rain and light snow. Brock Purdy, actually, I know 2 years ago, he struggled in a game against Cleveland in bad conditions like that. So I remember because they were talking about it constantly during the Packers and the 49ers, the NFC Championship game that year. They kept talking about that because it was all about, Purdy struggling in the weather and all that stuff. So they were talking about that Cleveland game. So yeah, he's going back to Cleveland where he struggled last time. And I think he'll struggle again. So the Browns defense is going to be in play for me too.
It's not a bad call. It really isn't. And yeah, and the Browns are a good defense overall. And San Fran's up and clicking. They haven't looked good this year.
No, they really didn't look. They won pretty handily against the Panthers, but they didn't look that good. Purdy threw 3 picks. Thought he was going to throw like 5 or 6 the way it was going, but then luckily for him, J.C. Horn got hurt. So
yeah, Rams for me. Dolphins are cheap. You can play them. You're in the Browns. Do the Saints against Miami. Don't play the Vikings. I love Seattle's defense this week, but
right. Who do you like Thanksgiving? Who do you like on defense?
On Thanksgiving, I like Baltimore.
Yeah, I think they're the clear play. All right, so we'll go to our lock of the week. This week or last week, I went with the Lions, which they made me sweat a little bit, to say the least, but they did pull it out against the Giants. This week, I'm going to go with, unfortunately, I'm going to go with Seattle over Minnesota. That's going to be my lock of the week this week. My upset, last week I went with Tennessee, and they did cover. Seattle won by 6. Tennessee was a 13-point underdog, so they covered that. This week I'm going to go with Cleveland +5, and I have them winning outright against San Francisco. So that's going to be my upset of the week. My bold prediction, last week I went with Jacoby Brissett as a top 3 quarterback. He ended up close. He ended up 6th. And then I'm going to say that Cleveland upset San Francisco, and the Rams are going to win by less than 7 against Carolina. That's going to be probably even a bigger upset than Cleveland beating San Francisco, I think. But it seems like whenever a team gets crowned as the team to beat, like they just struggle the week after. So I could see that happening with the Rams going down to Carolina. So, yeah.
Okay. My lock of the week is the Rams because defenses don't struggle. Just kidding. They don't. They
Yeah.
can. They can. They can.
They
But
can.
no,
They can, but
they are
they're
the lock of the week. Yeah.
yeah.
My upset of the week is going to be the almighty Jets beating Atlanta.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Outright, not covering spread. So I'm not doing and then my bold prediction: a Viking quarterback will not throw an interception this week.
Okay. All right. So last week you had Dallas scoring 1 touchdown. How did I don't even know how that turned out.
Not well.
Not well.
Garbage.
Who did they play
because
last week? I don't even remember.
Dallas came back and won to Philadelphia. It
Oh,
looked really.
yeah. So that that feels like so recent that it doesn't even feel like last week. But yeah,
For 3 quarters, it looked good.
it looked good. It did. Yeah.
It really had it, and then poof, I know what happened.
Yeah.
It know what happened.
Quarterbacks don't throw an interception. Yeah, that's definitely bold in Seattle for sure. So
considering Rossler's already been out there for a few snaps and throwing one, yeah, it's a bold prediction.
Yeah. Now
he's
he
a
played
rookie.
in Washington, right? Didn't he play? Down here, he played college at Washington.
I started University of North Dakota and went to Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay. All right.
Yeah, finished the last.
So Prizepicks, as of now, they don't have any free squares, so none of those available. But I do have a couple plays that I like on Thanksgiving Day. I like Rashee Rice more than 17 fantasy score. And then Mark Andrews, as I mentioned, he's averaged 10.6 during the Lamar Jackson games. So I like him for more than 10.5 fantasy score. Then Trey McBride, I'm going to go back to him getting a touchdown. He's got one in like every game recently. So I do like that. I think he's had 2 in most of the games recently. And then I'm going to take Brock Purdy less than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think that's going to be a very low scoring game, and he's going to have less than 2 passing touchdowns. So, all right. So then we will go to our FanDuel 2 brains are better than 1 lineup.
Thursday?
Am I up on quarterback or are you?
I am. Are we doing Thursday? Or?
That was what I was going to ask you. Is if you wanted to do, I was thinking we could do Thursday on the podcast, and then we can do Sunday for our members.
We always do, yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, we'll do one for the members.
Our podcast viewers something worth watching because the slate Sunday is rough. Let's see here.
I'll put room on you on this one.
Entry. I think I reserved an entry for this. Let's see.
I did.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to take Mahomes, quarterback, and let's see.
Actually, I was going to go first for quarterback, and else can go Mahomes. But you can.
Oh, okay.
And oh boy, pricey actually. I do.
Yeah, the pricing is a little tough. That's for sure.
I don't mind Williams for Dallas. I have to mention that.
Oh, Javonte?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I'm not going to play him, but Wilson at 69. I would go for Gibbs. Let's have fun trying to get this to work.
Okay, let's do that. All right, so we got Mahomes and Gibbs.
Mm-hmm. Just a GPP. No.
Yep. I'm gonna take Brock Wright at 4,900 at tight end.
Oof. Yeah, the GPP.
Yep.
Just see.
I think a lot of people pay likely at $100 cheaper, but like I said, it's always these low-owned tight ends that end up breaking the slate.
We'll play them both. You said you did.
I did Brock Wright and Patrick Mahomes so far, and you took Gibbs. So
Right, I just put Wright in there. Okay. Is it 4,900?
who's that?
Right. I'm just surprised by his price being that high.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going receiver, Hollywood Brown, 5,200.
Okay. Wow, he's cheap, 5,200.
Mm-hmm. You only had one catch last week, so
Baltimore.
yeah. Keep that in mind.
And 4,600.
Yep.
6,850. Okay. Now we're getting closer to where I'd like to be. I'll take. I know you're not going to like this, but like I said, he's had a really good. No, I'm not going to do that because we got Gibbs already. I'll take Kareem Hunt, 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we do Rice.
We do Rice and Brown and Hunt.
We got Hunt. Yeah, we do, don't we? Then I'll definitely do say Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is who I was thinking. Okay. And then we'll do, I think,
If he
Pickens.
Yeah, we got Watson at 6,000, Dobbs at 58.
Yeah.
And so those are two options.
Well, we do. If we do Pickens, then that leaves us with 5,900, which we can do Andrews or we can do Gesicki or whoever.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so just do the lineup again. Sorry, Josh. So
Yes.
Mahomes,
Gibbs, Hunt, Brown,
yep.
Flowers, Pickens, Wright, the Ravens defense.
Pickens went it. 5,900. Definitely, I like Andrews almost like you in here.
Mark Andrews.
Yeah, like him a lot, like you do.
Yeah. All right. So we got Mahomes, Gibbs, Hunt, Brown, Flowers, Pickens, Wright, Andrews, and the Ravens defense. And that leaves us with 300. So we can make a move if we need to with Pickens. I'm thinking we may, if we did that, we may move Hollywood Brown and then go with somebody else at receiver. But for now, I like Pickens. So I think that's a good play. All right. That will.
Wow.
We didn't play Tinsley. I know we talked about him too.
No, or Gesicki at 4,000.
Or Gesicki. Yeah, we can make some moves. We'll let you guys know, like we usually do on YouTube in the comments, or we'll also post it on X. Hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. I hope everybody has an awesome Thanksgiving with their families, enjoys all the great games on Thursday and Friday, and then the rest of it's kind of blah. But we'll enjoy Thursday and Friday for sure. So, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Thanks for everybody joining us. Everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we thank you once again for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And we will back again next week, probably on our normal scheduled time around Friday, as we look to crush it in NFL, DFS, and Prizepicks. Have a great one. Thank you.